Is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a long-awaited LSU football season and the Russo and Goodwin LSU football show. We are your hosts. Coach, how are you doing today, dude?
I mean, any better, there'd be two of me. You know what I mean?
We've been talking about football for the last couple of weeks now and really hyping ourselves up for this season, hyping ourselves up for this show. We've got a lot of, good content coming your way that we'll go over, maybe towards the end of the show as far as, how you'll expect to see as far as the show is concerned. But we're so back, man. Like we're just so back. Fall camp started yesterday. Fall camp is technically going on right now. I imagine the media has probably been sent home by now for day two. But um, what are your thoughts just so far on the season, the lead up to fall camp? Just and what are the vibes in the Goodwin household as far as LSU is concerned?
Geez. Well, I guess the best way to start out is to announce a little bit of news. Since we're obviously it's been a minute, but we're back in the saddle. Little bit of news for for everybody that I suppose wanted to know or cared to know. Both of us are engaged now. Not not to miss out on all the family fun, but Russo is engaged, and so is your boy. So we're getting excited. No fall weddings, obviously. No fall weddings.
Obviously.
Obviously not. No fall weddings. But the vibes are high, man. So the official like the season tickets were uploaded into the account, and so you were able to like put them in your wallet. I think 2 nights ago. So it became really real whenever that happened. So I was actually on the couch and I looked over and I went, you do know that like the fellas are about to take over, right? Like this, like as far as no more, FIFA World Cup games and you know Friday afternoon golf score checks and
Baseball, which we
God,
probably won't have next year, but
which we
baseball.
what
Yeah.
right probably right probably won't have the professional game next year anyway. But I definitely I'm ready, man. The vibes are high. Not truthfully, I guess what we kind of expected with like a Lane Kiffin now team is we kind of like the last episode that we did and the last time that we were here, it was fresh and had just started, right? And if I were to tell you that like 6 or 7 months removed from that we would have zero tweets to talk about would
Crazy.
be crazy. So now he's on a sabbatical from social media, and so us that like loosely as fans, of course, covered the team. We're like, well, hold up, like we kind of wanted the shit talk,
I
so to
think he'll get
speak.
back into it. I think he'll get back into it as the season goes on, and
Yeah.
especially if like we start the season off 3-0 and he gets a victory in Oxford, you know, that I feel like he'll come out
What a
the
time to
shell.
come back on.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that's just his motto. I think he's just gonna ease into it and he'll be back on the comms for sure. But
Well,
yeah.
we're here for it all. Now, granted, man, I'm not, and again, like a lot of the I will say this, a lot of the like off season, discussion like in like the Twitter sphere and like all the social media and whatnot has been never involved. Ole Miss is actually the primary reason why a lot of LSU fans are kind of excited for this season because it ignited like this old rivalry. And I think for people, maybe, our age or that went to school, kind of here lately with college, and let's just say, the early teens or the late 20s. Like if you're in your, 20s or 30s, you probably don't remember Ole Miss being like that big of a rivalry because you've truthfully just been beating the crap out of them for the last handful of years. But now that you're here, you are starting to see a little bit of like the people that are like in your uncles and your aunts and your cousins and your moms and dads variety of those people that were watching the football like for LSU back when they were like believably bad, like way before Saban got here. And that has kind of sparked a little bit of the energy. So, dude, Twitter's been on fire with Ole Miss. They are genuinely They are genuinely and truthfully convinced that they don't need him. And so what I think Kiffin has tried to do is be even more toxic by not responding to it. And they can't stand it. They can't stand that he is now off of social media. So I just think it's funny. I think it's great. It's actually kind of adding to like the lore of it all. But we're gonna talk all about it, dude. And just like my boy Dylan just now said, we are back. And this is a new stream setup. So shout out to Russo for getting that set up. I'm impressed.
Work in progress. We're definitely gonna try and get some more visuals in the show this year instead of seeing our boring faces sometimes, for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. So we're gonna try our best to evolve as far as that's concerned. So definitely appreciate that. Let's just get started, man. Like, well, I mean, this is just gonna be a low level overview of what we've seen, right? I mean,
Mm.
there's obviously limited media availability that he's chosen to go with. As far as the camp is concerned, he came out yesterday and I think allowed the media out there for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then from there, he came out and talked for what, like 20, 25 minutes, was very brief on certain questions. Let's just start the quarterback position, the most important position. Um, Sam Levitt. I don't know how much you watched or what you saw or what you heard, but I just wanted to get your opinion on where we started when he got onto campus in the spring with that injury, and now he's appearing to be a full go. I know Kiffin was hesitant to green light him on running and being a run first quarterback, but what were your thoughts as far as the first day?
So again, with that limited of time, you're only allowed to see so much. And I was gonna draw up like a diagram for those of you that cared, but it was a little bit too convoluted. And I assure you, the one of the very few B's that I got in high school was in art class. So let me spare everybody here for trying to draw something. But the way the field is set up, you're only really allowed to have a lot of visual on like certain groups. Okay. So it's several fields in a square or really a rectangle. And so from what you're able to see, the primary stuff that you are able to see is the skill position. So you're able to see the running backs, you're able to see the quarterbacks, you're able to see the receivers. The big fellas is kind of the ones that a lot of people want to turn their attention to first, especially because, in anything that starts with a Saban or a Kiffin or a smart offense, it really does start on the line of scrimmage. So a lot of that discussion has kind of been hindered in the event that like you really can't see a lot. But I will say with the video that we saw from Levitt, since that was the question, dude, he looked fine. Like he looked fast. He looked fluid. Now, again, it's day one. Okay. It's day one. He's had a lot of time to recover. He wasn't at SEC Media Days, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about whether or not you and I agree with that or not. I actually think that it's kind of annoying when they don't bring their quarterback, even though he said that he had things that he wanted to do, drills and, player led, throwing session, whatever. Bring your freaking quarterback. Like everybody wants to talk to him, but whatever. You didn't, so he stayed. He's really not come out publicly and spoken. And as a matter of fact, Levitt has not been able to answer, probably on purpose, any questions about his health. So the only thing that we've been able to see is like one clip from a women's club thing that he did, and you saw like clips on Instagram of him like commenting and speaking into the mic. And it was the first time we even heard him freaking say anything. So literally all we have is what we've seen on video from this. And he looked full speed, man. He didn't look like he was laboring it. He didn't look like he was, trying to be ginger on it. It didn't look like he had like any brace or any, uh, weird like thick insole on his cleat. No tape. There was nothing like that. So the one thing that you really, I guess, if you're concerned about that, which most of us are, since we obviously care about the Tigers, is that you kind of wanted to see what would it look like in whatever facet, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, or 3 hours of video. What does the ball look like coming out of his hand to the receivers? And from what I saw, there was multiple different fellas where you could tell this was not their first time throwing together. So whether or not he's at 90% or 95 or 106, I'm kind of okay if you can just make it through the month of August and just feel your best, whatever that best is, going into game one at Clemson. And then you can take that week 2 to do whatever you need to do, get your acupuncture, get your massage or whatever you need, Tylenol, and then really get yourself ready if you're going to make them run the ball, week 3, which we're not going to talk about week 3 right now. This is just whatever. But to me, he looks physically fine. Now, granted, day 1, ask me again, say in 2 weeks when they've been practicing, 5 days a week under this new schedule, which
Right.
I guess I'll now flip it and say, when was the last time we had night practice?
Couldn't tell you.
I kind of like it.
I I really like it. I like his approach to practice in general. Like he's very he wants to emphasize that like we're gonna ramp up and not get injured. It seems like that strategy has worked well for him in Ole Miss. Because I mean I don't really remember any big time injuries over there in his last couple years. Do you? I mean, I mean, I'm pretty sure Jackson Dart played for the most part.
Yeah.
Matt Corral,
Mm-hmm.
those were his last 2 quarterbacks, unless you want to count Austin Simmons' little stint there. Um, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'll say just from what I witnessed, I think everyone was overwhelmingly excited to see him on the field looking good. I think he impressed everyone that I've at least seen as far as the media is concerned. And like a big thing I wanted to note with Sam was like, in the Big 12, right? Like they said a lot of his MO was he would make an incredible play. Kind of like a little bit like Nussmeier, not from a running perspective, but like he would make an incredible play one time and then he would just make a bonehead decision the next time. Like that's kind of a little bit of the scouting that I've heard from people that were, paying more attention over the last couple of years. And to me, like I go and look at his stats, like I don't see the turnovers on paper, right? Like if you go to
Right.
the 2025 season where obviously they had um I want to say that was the year he got hurt, right? Let me see. 2024 is when they went to the bowl with against Texas. And he only had 6 interceptions, played a full season, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And then his
Mm-hmm.
season was cut short last year, um, but still 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So, like, on paper, I'm not seeing a bunch of that. Now, obviously, that will change. I'd have to watch more tape to see what they're talking about, and obviously, we have a little bit of history of that with ourselves with Nuss over that same sentiment on like, hey, like make a lot of the right decisions instead of, maybe instead of trying to throw a deep ball, you run a couple yards, get the first down and live to see another day instead of forcing a pass. So that's still all in all, I'm very impressed with what I've seen. Obviously, it's day one, and we're closing day two off here now, so we'll see how it goes. But let's lead into who he's going to be handing the ball off to, and I think we would both agree that there's a surprise name that maybe a lot of people weren't surprised with. That's getting a lot of shine in that running back room, and that's Dylan Jones. So, what were your thoughts on him? What were your thoughts on his emergence and the running back room in general? It feels like it's going to be a pretty split backfield at the beginning, at least.
So I mean, just I guess going off what you were saying. I mean, number one, in that year at Arizona State 2 years ago, he had Cam Scatabo, who literally ran for like 1,400 yards or some crazy crap. Like Cam ran the shite out of the ball, which, newsflash, Kiffin would take a 1,400-yard rusher today. If you told him that Sam only threw for 2,500 yards or 3,000 yards with 8 picks and 20 touchdowns, he would take that all day if he knew that he had a 1,400-yard rusher, because it means that you were pounding the rock. And so I think what kind of took people by surprise is the Wisconsin transfer. That's Dylan Jones. Now, granted, spring is kind of finicky because anything and everything that you do in spring is elevated, right? Especially whenever you're brand new. But they go and get this guy and they say that they as in, the team, the people that talk around the team, the word gets out. He's the most well-rounded of the backs, and I know that that's going to come as a lot of, I guess a surprise to a lot of people. Like you
It's
kind
a
of,
culture shock, right? Because like
yeah,
you go into the season knowing that you have this young stud in Barry, and then Durham's back. So like a lot of I don't want to say homers, but like a lot of people probably didn't expect this. Uh, and some people might have, like you always have to keep an open mind, especially when it comes to running back. I mean, things can easily change, and I don't think we're used to a good rushing attack since we've had the likes of Leonard Fournette and Darius Geis, and like honestly, at all in the
Clyde.
Brian at all in the Brian Kelly era, I don't think we really had a
No,
good overall
no.
rushing attack. So
The
like it's
best running back you've
definitely
had since then was Clyde, and you can
yeah.
maybe say Tyrion Davis Price in game to game basis, but Clyde has been your best one since then.
Yeah, and so all that to say, uh if you really I to me, like I know like if you think of Lane Kiffin and his offenses, you always think uh run and gun, slings the rock. But like if I really did go look at his running backs the last couple of years and I was impressed. I mean, there
Up
was
there.
very much up there, and I'm hoping that translates. I mean, that's going to be new. That is going to be a little bit of a shock, I guess. Maybe just since we haven't seen it over the last couple of years. Obviously, we were very graced to see the likes of some very good running backs, especially when we were in the stands in college ourselves, uh, inebriated for some of that stuff, and
Shout out Crapple.
yeah. So, however, it's not technically a shock to me. I think Harlem Berry was like the big get in the backfield, and now I think you've got this guy from Wisconsin, and obviously you think Big Ten up north, Wisconsin. Maybe maybe this is a good thing. Maybe the competition's going to be good, and three backs going at it can only mean good things, in my opinion.
Yeah, truthfully, like I guess if you're wanting to play devil's advocate, the best thing you can ever do for anyone is have someone push them. So clearly, we're not stupid. We're not privy to any information. I'm not breaking any news. You don't keep Harlem Berry by telling him you're not gonna get the ball. You know what I mean? Obviously, Frank walks out of the door, told to walk out of the door, I should say, and Harlem and Caden had serious decisions to make. You then had Caden flirting with Florida, and he chose to stay. You had Harlem, who frankly never really gave any indication to anybody that he was leaving, but you still have to have the conversation, and he has to be able to look at Coach Kevin Smith and say, like, where do I fit in here? And the conversations, from what I understand, is you're going to have to compete for it, but you clearly have the upper hand. And the only reason why you don't start down one, play one against Clemson in Death Valley is if somebody puts in more work than you. So put the work in. Now, what I don't want to do is pretend like, let's just say that Dylan Jones gets, you know, 30 snaps and Harlem Berry gets 18 snaps, Caden gets 8, and you go empty for 12. You know what I'm saying? And like obviously you look up and Dylan's over doubled, Harlem snaps or doubled his snaps or has more snaps. They're gonna throw Harlem Berry the football in space. Like I am telling you, they are going to throw him the football because they know what they have in him as a receiver. And remember, Harlem Berry got his 5th star. He was the number 1 running back in his class. Remember, he got his 5th star as a freaking receiver too. And it wasn't until you really saw him as like a junior go, and then in his senior year too, where you started to see like the consensus across all boards, him be the number 1 recruit at running back because of what he could do as a receiver, because he's lining up in the freaking slot and catching 40 and 50-yard go routes. Like homeboy is going to get the ball in space. And so what Dylan Jones, apparently, from what we're hearing, what he does is everything kind of the most balanced and well enough to say he is the most well-rounded of the running backs. And there's not really another team in the Big Ten that I'd prefer to have a running back come from than Wisconsin, to be honest with you. Like, Wisconsin has a pretty consistent track record with getting running backs and getting them to be, successful at the next level and in the Sunday game. So that's kind of been the talk of the town. Now, that's not to say that Caden Durham is, not going to ever get the ball, but he does seem to be the odd man out right now. So it's going to be up to him to step up and make plays. And what I do think will happen is that you're going to see those flashes. And there was some of those plays where Harlem would get the ball and there's nowhere to run, but he makes 6 yards out of it. And everyone's sitting here watching the TV going, but you just ran the same play 3 times and no one got and no one could gain yards, but yet him and Xavion Thomas could gain 6 yards out of that. So it was a consistent thing. But what we've now learned with the last class, which we'll get into with our last talking point of the day, is promises were made with this last staff, playing time, promises in recruiting, promises in who's going to get how many snaps and this kind of and that doesn't always translate to the best player getting to play. And again, I'm not trying to cast aspersions and poo-poo anybody, but it is clearly and blatantly obvious that certain people were not playing despite the fact they were better than the person in front of them. Whit Weeks was your first example of it. Everybody in the stands was clamoring for it. He gets on the field and has 13 freaking tackles. So what if he throws up and tucks his jersey up underneath his chest? The dude's running with his hair loose and is running like a meth addict all over the football field. Yeah, that guy needs to play. You know what I'm saying? And then you get Harlem Berry the ball, and Harlem Berry all of a sudden is breaking off tackles and running for 50 yards down the field. Like, it shouldn't be a shock that there's probably somebody on the field that could be beneficial to you in the running game when there's no holes to run through, and it's likely going to be the fastest back and the scat back, which would be Harlem Berry. So in this instance, you now have a Lane Kiffin offense, not to go too much more long-winded on this, but you now have a Lane Kiffin offense in which he is going to put the best person in the correct situations to be successful. That is what Lane Kiffin has done his whole career. That's what Charlie Weiss Jr. is going to be doing. It's just going to happen. He is going to move the ball down the field. You just have to become okay with it if you're on the other side.
Right. No, I think it's wide open in my opinion, and I'm excited because like a lot of people count Caden out, like he is the odd man out, and I mean he showed great promise last year. Like it wasn't consistent, but we saw a lot of good moments from him in the season last year. So
Just not enough.
right. So
That's not all
let's
his fault, though.
right. And I'm thinking, since we're already 22 minutes in, we can definitely just focus on the offense and maybe we'll break down the defense because the defense, in my opinion, has got some not only some dogs but some interesting position battles that I'd like to see maybe play out a little bit before we get too into depth on. We can briefly go over it if we have time, but I wanted to talk about spend some time on who Sam's tossing the ball to, and that receiving room has been revamped through the transfer portal. And I mean, you are 5 to 6 receivers deep, and that might be an understatement as far as the talent you brought in, including the likes of Jackson Harris, the transfer from Hawaii, Jace Brown from Kansas State, Winston Watkins Jr., the young gun from Ole Miss, Eugene Wilson, the former 5-star recruit from Florida. I mean, those are just 4 guys, and I haven't even talked about some of the other guys that are woeing heads allegedly after day one. So, what are your thoughts? Who do you think, based on just coming into this and where we're at currently, who's going to take over the number 1 spot?
So, to be honest, bro, when you look, how do I even like conceptualize that? When When you go out and get that many people to catch balls, pause, you have to be able to be honest with yourself and say, where do all of these people fit in? Like, you can only throw so many passes, but you know that Kiffin wants 4 or 6 of them. He wants 4 or 6 of them out there. I have a hard time seeing them keep Eugene Wilson off the field, dude. The only person that's going to keep him off the field is himself with the injuries, dude. But you've got Jace, you've got Eugene, you've got Trey, you've got Jackson, like you've got Winnie. I mean, Winnie knows the offense. So to me, early on, you're going to see Winnie Watkins is going to catch at least 7 or 8 3, 4, and 5 yard outs to convert on the next down because he's going to be the one that knows the offense the best because he came from it. And he's a little shorter, fast. He can kind of keep his pads low, get in and out of his breaks. Bro, this Jackson Harris dude. Wow. He's do you remember whenever it was like early on in the 2019 season and you had Jettas and you had Jamar, but it was Terrace with like 6 touchdowns in like 2 games, and everybody was like, why do we not why do we not throw it to him like every red zone? That's gonna be what you do with Jackson Harris. I think a lot of the times, I think you're gonna have that same role with Trey Green. And so if you can just find 4 or 6 and keep the rotation going, again, they're going to catch the ball in space. There's not going to be this slow developing lineman in their stance for 13 seconds, 14 seconds, 21 seconds, 4, 3, 2 on the play clock, and then you have to call a timeout. There's not going to be any of that crap. Joe Sloan's not here anymore. You are going to have 7 yards. And then 10 seconds in real life is going to go, and you're going to 4 yards. And then you're going to get a text, and you're going to look down, you're going to go, oh shit, and you're going to see 8 yards. Like, it's going to be hard for them to not need 4 or 6 bodies when you go at warp speed like that. And so what I think is going to happen once we get maybe, 4, 5, 6, 8 days into camp, we're going to notice some tendencies. And I think you're going to see a collection. I mean, Malik Elzy, people aren't talking about Malik, another big body. Like, bro, there's a lot, bro. Listen to me. There is a lot of people that are going to have a roster. I know we've said that the last couple of years. You're going to need to have like a roster on you to know like who these people are, because they're going to catch a 47-yard touchdown pass and you're not going to know who they are. And they're going to say so-and-so, and you're going to go, oh dear God, they were 10 yards behind the defender. And then it's going to happen like 2 drives later, and it's going to be another number, and it's going to be like 17. And you're going to go, well, who the hell is that? Like, it's going to, like, that's what the Ole Miss offense predicates itself on. So if you can give me 4 to 6, I don't even care who they are. But if you get the ball in the red zone and at least one of the attempts isn't to trade as Green, I'm going to freak out. Who's going to have a hand up on 6'7" and jumping up in the air? You feel me? Like, do you remember? I know I'm going long-winded on this. Do you remember last year the Clemson game whenever Avion Terrell was playing AJ's little brother, and he was the corner, first team All-American or preseason All-American, all at ACC, whatever. And there was that jump ball early. It was the first touchdown of the game for us. And he throws the jump ball, and Avion's like 5'11", 6 foot tall. And he tries to jump up, and then he sees Trey Green in the air, and he just takes him and kind of throws him against the ground to try to like jar the ball out. Like, that's all you have. So really, I just need him to move the ball between the 20s, because homeboy that's 7'5" is going to be the one that catches the ball in the end zone. And I don't care if they do it every single time. Throw that sucker up to him.
I'm with you, and I was going up to confirm because I remember I sent you some of the LSU stats from Prize Picks, and obviously Prize Picks is not local to Louisiana, so kind of sucks. But if you are not in Louisiana, if you're residing in somewhere like Texas, uh, I believe the touchdown number was 7.5 on Prize Picks. If I remember that correctly, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time finding it right now. Anyways, um,
Over.
so yeah, I mean, like if we're gonna try our best to, we definitely have some sources to get us into a few bets, with some people in Texas. So we will
Shout
have
out.
our bets, and I will say for certain, um, we're gonna have a Prize Picks play of the week every week, and we're gonna have some fun things, some contests and stuff, and hopefully, if we win a few of those bets this year, we'll give away some money to some followers. So uh, definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, I think in my intro on the receivers, I didn't even mention Trey Green because I'm just going over the receiver room. So like, and think about this, right? So I just wanted to go back to like the original question, which was like, who do you think is going to be number one? Jace
Mm-hmm.
Brown to me, I think is he always stood out. I think I was super excited when I saw he committed to LSU. He had 712 yards last year, 823 the year before. Okay. Do you want to know what our top receiver had last year as far as yardage?
Can I guess who it was?
Yeah.
Was it Xavion?
Second. He was second.
Aaron?
Nope. Aaron was
Oh, because
fourth.
he was
Aaron
hurt.
got
He was
hurt.
hurt.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Number 6, or I don't know what number he's wearing for the Who Dats right now. Barian Brown,
Barry on Brown. That checks out. And he had how much? Like 500 yards.
532 yards.
Jesus
So
Christ.
like Jace Brown, look, and I get it. It's the Big 12 he's coming from, but like Kansas State, look, that's 800, that's 700, that's 300 more than our first best last year. Jackson Harris had 963 yards, and you're like, okay, that's Hawaii. I mean, he's 6'2", 202. I mean, he committed to like he was playing for Stanford. Like he's no joke. Like just for the fact that he played for Hawaii, blah blah blah. Like times have changed as far as NIL is concerned. Like you're gonna start seeing, you know, guys at these smaller colleges go off and they're talented. They're uber talented. And you're gonna see this a lot. And you just don't see like the huge, I mean, outside of Eugene Wilson, who just hasn't stayed healthy for a full season. I can just, if he just can stay healthy with this system, I feel he can have a huge year too. But I'm going with Jace Brown as far as my number one outside of Trey. I think Trey clearly is going to be the best receiver. Or I mean, he's going to line up as a wideout, so like I guess you could technically consider him as as a receiver, but he will for sure have several multi-touchdown games this year,
Dude.
without
I,
a question. So like the fact that it's only 7.5, like if I can just find a market somewhere with just that number, because Prize Picks only lets you do like parlays and stuff, and you have to include some other stuff. But man, 7.5 touchdowns is crazy to me because he had 7 last year, didn't play a few games anyways, and was with a incompetent passing game towards the end of the season, really. So man, stay tuned. We're definitely gonna try and find a line for that. But
I
lastly,
like
as
it.
far as the offense is concerned, we've touched everything but the big boys. And
Woo!
coming into last year, I remember a lot. There were so many position battles last year as far as who was going to end up where. And this year it feels like the opposite of that. It feels like we have our starting five. It feels like we have our backups in place, maybe with the exception of a position. Um, I mean, just what's your thoughts on the O line? Do you have? I mean, it's just such a 180 from last year, right? With so many question marks coming into the season. Now we're coming into it where it's kind of the set in stone piece on this offense.
So I do. I actually wanted to I kind of wanted to make sure there wasn't anything that had come out of practice. I don't know if they released one. Because I kind of wanted to see if they would. Obviously, I didn't think so, but um, okay. So we're gonna be able to reference this by the time the season starts in a month here. So as of today, obviously everybody knows that you went to Colorado and got the the former 5-star All-American Jordan Seaton at left tackle. The shock of the spring was the legacy Tiger, Beau Bordelon, the 5th-year senior, coming and taking over the left guard spot and winning the left guard spot. Like, you went and got 2, 3, you could make a case for 4, adequate regular starters and players on the offensive line in the SEC. And Beau Bordelon, who's been here this whole time, came out and beat him for left guard. Now, granted, he has to hold on to that, and I think that he will, because a lot of the talk was at times were a little bit leery of how well they were running the football in the spring. Big Beau gets up in that hoe, and we start moving full. You feel me? Like, all of a sudden, Overalls gets in at the left guard, and we're moving people like a 40-horse John Deere, brother, moving. And I'm here for it. Like, let me find out that we've got some corn-fed just I guess I shouldn't say that it's more important than a transfer player, because a former a corn-fed, homegrown, former 3-star that makes his way to start on an offensive line in his 5th year. Wow, that is a sick story to write someday. And that dude's probably never going to buy a beer or dinner again once he starts here and people know what his face looks like in the city of Baton Rouge. And so, as it looks right now, it's Jordan Seaton, Beau Bordelon, Braylon Moore comes back. That's a big, humongous get for them to have. And you go and get Alu Ba from Maryland, who, again, a ton of starting experience. He's a senior. It's kind of his time to shine. And then a right tackle rather, you have Weston Davis, who stayed. Who, by the way, I will say, neither one of us were big Weston Davis fans in terms of his play, and we had several cussing text messages about him. And I am just here to say that I am here to be proven wrong. Okay, like, wow, did we not like his play? Can I share a story? Can I do an aside really quick? So I just want everybody to close your eyes and imagine this moment. Okay. I want to tell you it was the second quarter of the A&M game. Okay. We're winning. We haven't gone into halftime yet. I have not even bought a beer in the stadium yet because of how many I drank before it started. I am very hydrated for the occasion, quite hydrated. I've got A&M dudes in front of me. We're talking back and forth. They're starting to talk crazy. I'm starting to talk crazy. And all of a sudden, my Apple Watch just, if any of you have an Apple Watch, you know what the vibration is. And I just get, boop, boop, boop. And it's just Russo lighting this dude up, talking about how we can't run the football, but we're winning. So in my mind, Russo's an idiot. And so I'm telling the people we had like friends in town. I'm like, guys, we're seriously we're so used to running the rock here at LSU, because they had never been to a college football game before. I'm like, we're so used to running the rock that, like, one of my best friends is literally pissed right now at how we're not running it well enough, and we're winning right now, and it's about to be half. Boy, was Russo right, because brother, there was a play where Weston Davis took a kick step, and I don't even think his foot hit the grass, and he was just flat on his ass. And it was the very next drive after telling my friends who you were talking about. And so they were laser focused on him, and the drive starts, and he got flattened. And I mean, comically, I looked back at my phone, and all I see is
a couple of years under Brian Kelly. It was frustrating just not being able to just simply run the ball. Frustrating. So hopefully the big boys can move for our running backs, and we've got three good ones. We'll see how it goes, man. That's the offense. I mean, man, we're 40 minutes in already. I say we maybe pivot to what to expect for the show, and then
Yeah.
we'll close with the infamous story you alluded to earlier about promises. Um, as far as the show is concerned, we got so much good feedback last year about catching up with Coach. His show on, I believe we tried to get you on Tuesdays, but your schedule is the craziest I've ever seen in a friend in my life. So sometime early, we're gonna try and set a date, but sometime early in the week, Mondays and Tuesdays, we're gonna try and get a catching up with Coach episode, and Trey's fantastic with that. Trey really digs into the X's and O's. I'm not an X's and O guy. X's and O guy. I'm a very casual. And this is probably the most I've been into. Like I've been watching tape of fall camp. I've never done this in my life. That's
It's
how excited
awesome.
I am. That's
So
how
awesome.
excited I am. So like I'm very new to the whole being into it this early on kind of deal. I'm very much of a a true as far as just big fan. I love sports betting obviously. So like I love to bring my angles with that, which I'm going to do on Fridays with a obviously I had that show on and off. We're gonna do a prize picks uh play of the week every week, and we're also gonna do a ladder challenge. We're gonna stick to it. We're gonna see
God,
if
we
we can
stuck at the ladder.
we're gonna see if we can run 10 to 10K this year, man. And we're gonna take it week by week. We're not gonna force anything, and we're gonna have some fun with that. So those videos will be on Fridays at the end of the week before the games. So that's what to expect from, and then obviously our flagship show here on Thursdays. So that's what's to expect. And Trey, send us off with our previous coach
Okay.
and what
Okay.
what we learned about the number five.
So okay, so I'm not gonna do the thing where I get mad and red faced and scream and cuss. I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna try not to tangent too much because I did go back and listen to a post game press conference. So for those of you that care, I go to when I start my day at the gym and then I leave the gym and I have to physically like prepare my car to like go to doctor's offices every day. And while doing that is when I really lock in. And sometimes it's hot, I'm sweating, and I like to try to like get my blood going. I listened to the post game press conference after LSU beat Florida last year, and I literally got an alert like from my Aura ring that like I should quote perhaps sit down because I was so aggravated. So apparently, number 5 is back. Okay, so DJ Pickett is going to wear number 5 this year. Kiffin came to the podium, talked about it. I have no problem with him and how he handled it. You can kind of tell that it was kind of, matter of fact and succinct. Clearly, what he said was that Brian Kelly and staff promised DJ Pickett upon committing to LSU and coming to LSU that he was going to be able to wear the number 5. Clearly, that was most likely contingent upon him staying for his sophomore year and junior year. Like you stay here, you can get it. You don't get to wear 5 and then leave, right? But like as long as Coach Raymond likely is here, Coach Corey Raymond, which I for as long as I'm alive, I'll put up my own money to keep C Ray here. But as long as he's here, he's going to wear number 5, right? Well, no one knew that. So the media gets to practice yesterday. They get a roster. They don't see 5. They don't see 9. But then they get to the field, and then Pickett's out there in 5. And it's like, what? So here's my thoughts. You can agree or disagree. I actually don't have a problem with it. LSU's had like a long standard of retiring jerseys, not numbers. So what they'll do is if they want to honor Jaden Daniels, which they should, they're just now getting good at this. But they'll go and they'll go and honor and retire Joe Burrow's number. I actually think that they'll probably end up retiring 9, to be completely honest with you. 5 is kind of hard because obviously that he's not. I mean, it's not his fault that Matt House was the omen to our lives, but you can retire the jersey, not the number, because at some point you're going to run out of numbers to give kids. You know what I mean? But like, for example, on that 2019 team, Marcel Brooks was in number 9 and Joe was in number 9. But since then, no one's worn 9. Jane Daniels wore 5, and all of a sudden you've got DJ Pickett wearing 5. dude, if he balls out and has 12 PBUs and 7 picks and a pick six and 2 fumble recoveries and is an All-American, no one cares about him wearing 5. Are you going to care about DJ Pickett wearing 5 if it's 4th and 2 with 45 seconds left on the 43-yard line in Jordan Hare at 2:30 in the afternoon on a weird Saturday game, and it's a 1-score game? You're just trying to clinch, and they throw an out route to try to get a first down to get in field goal position, and DJ Pickett swats the ball away, and you win, and you walk off and flip the bird to people on Twitter. No, you don't care about who's wearing number 5 if he does that. So my thought is, just be better. If you're going to retire jersey numbers, then retire the jersey numbers. But you're not retiring jersey numbers. You're just retiring the jersey. So if you're going to allow DJ Pickett a few years later to go and wear the number, go and honor Jaden Daniels. Don't wait till he's 40 years old with 2 twins and he's no longer playing anymore. Like, honor him while he's still upright and able to come and produce and bring the juice back to the program. You feel me? But if I may get another minute here, when I watched that post-game press conference, it was the 5-pick game. It was the 5 picks. LSU wins 20-10. And Michael Cobble, a well-respected media member here in Baton Rouge, basically tried to ask him a question about the running game, and Brian Kelly cut him off, saying that it was a stupid question. And he goes, "What do you want to know?" And he goes, "Frankly, I want to know why we can't run the ball." And he said, "We can. We ran it on the second to last play of the game." And we're all going, like, he doesn't mean that, right? So he then called us
got half the yards on that last play.
Yeah. And so I guess what I'm saying is, gone are the days where we're going to be scratching our heads confused as to why you're running zone freaking read in weird little made up insignificant now routes to receivers from the Z position to come and get 5 yards. Like, let's run the ball between the big fellas up front that smell bad. Let's do that. Let's pound the rock and run it the regular way and then throw the ball. Like, this isn't like hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not something that we you and I just like got together and had 12 beers and go, what would be a really good idea, Russo? It'd be a really good idea. What if our running backs were the best runners of the football on the team? Instead of our quarterback and instead of Xavier Thomas. Like, what if we actually had an offensive line that didn't have to get in their stance for 23 seconds before the play gets called?
I'm so excited to not have to. Well, fingers crossed. Obviously, we need to temper expectations. Let's see it happen first. But I'm with you.
I do think we might. Aren't you going to be a little bit sad whenever like something stupid happens and then the camera goes over to Brian Kelly's just confused, dumb look on his face?
Yeah.
Whenever like something happens and he's just like, it is going to be a little bit funny to not have that.
It's going to be funny not to have that, but it's going to be nice seeing like a coach. I can only always go to the LSU game against Ole Miss last year where Lane's dunking,
the basketball goal.
Yeah, doing alley-oops and then telling his team to go get a flag for going in the end. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather that.
Throw the first time they throw a clipboard, I promise I'm taking my shirt off. I'm taking it off. I don't care. Okay.
Man, I'm just so excited. We're gonna have some stuff coming in hopefully the next hour on how day 2 went. So what we're gonna definitely try and do this year is get more active on our social media for sure. We say that every year. I'm hand up. It's on me. But I'm just so excited for the show this year. So excited for the season that we're gonna go all out, man, and we're gonna definitely make it as good as we can. So I'm excited. Done are the days with Brian Kelly. So that chapter is over. I remember last year when we did our emergency live stream. That was like the most the most views and most people we've had in the show for a long time. And it was just a sigh of relief. I think we all knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And now we're here. And now we've got the Lane Train, who I wanted before Brian Kelly. So
Yep.
fingers crossed. We will go more into the defense next week as far as this show is concerned, and then we'll break down the schedule. I mean, we'll do a game by game analysis and go over what Vegas thinks of every game and where we will ultimately land up as far as a record is concerned. And we'll go from there. So expect that for next week's episode. Catch Trey on Catching Up with Coach on Tuesday. I'm sure he'll come with some more fall camp details. And outside of that, anything else from you, Coach?
Nope, I'm ready. Ready to rock and roll. It's time to jive, dude. It's football's back. We've got fall camp back. Just buckle up. Get ready to be the villain. Be ready to not be liked by anybody. It's fun. Enjoy the ride.
All right. Well, we are signing off. We will see y'all next week.